go to Tuesday, where there was this gentleman who came in and shared. So is an African diaspora who left Africa. Of course, I presume it was some job opportunity he got, but then also brought along. I think this was a high school sweetheart, as he said, they met in high school, developed relationship, which finally culminated into a marriage. And he brought this woman to the country where he has moved to. I'm trying to blur out some of the information because I just don't want to put also people's info out there. But he went to a Western country, but he later also brought along his wife from the African country he was from to come live with him. And the guy really sounded, almost like he had given up on life. I don't know if you picked up on that tone that he had, saying, I've been married for over 30 years, and that entire marriage was a total waste. At some point, he said he even saw the red flags from day one.
Yes.
And I wonder what kept him on for this long. 30 years, I think he said they have 3 kids. But what did you make of this? And still, as much as they were separated, they were not formally divorced. So on paper, as much as they are not together, they are separated, but not formally divorced. I think there was even a lawyer who was saying that he needs to see this through to its eventual end. But the guy seemed also a bit resistant. At some point, he was also saying, he's still having sex with the woman. It was a crazy mix. I don't know what you made of it.
You kind of fading. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's now there. It's back. So I picked the story. It was quite a sad story. But you see, on the question that you've asked, why is it that things can go by and somebody is still in there? I think it is the belief or the hope that things will change. And the view in terms of the man having this thing like you have to be there to see it through, no matter the challenges. Like the discussions we've been having, the man is built to endure challenges. So for him, it would be like, this is one of the problems that I have to overcome. And when I'm over it, the other side, then I'll be called to be stronger. Probably. That is what took him through. The other thing would be the fear of losing what he has. When you talk of the Western world and what happens when marriages break, the cost that comes with it is quite high. So probably that fear might have been the reason why he stayed in it longer. The other one would be his interest for the children and being there for them. Probably those 3 things are things that I would think I would pick out in terms of what made him stay longer. But you see, in what would say modern society or modern times, we have a lot of marriages breaking. And the reason for people coming together is very different from what makes them separate. To a lady, they might be looking at your lifestyle and resources. Status, I put it as status and resources, that draws them to you. To a man, it would be appearance and the feeling that he's the one who has you and not any other person. But then we do not look into values and character of the people that you be with. You get? So at some point I was saying, people come together probably because of lifestyle, status, and that ego then you separate because of character and values. Things that you'd have made a priority, because the status will be the same. For somebody who has good habit or bad habit, they can have the same status, they can attain the same status. But when you look into values, there are some values that if you need, probably, yes, you might not find the status, but you rather look for those values in the status that you want. But some people are saying they rather compromise the values and they will have the status, then they cry because of lack of those values or the characters that they underlooked, So to me, that's what I think. And the other things that can play in there, which we may also talk about. But good enough, he talked about his story, shared his experience, probably making people watch out there. But I think the learning point in all this is, can you put the values and the characters at the center rather than the lifestyle, the status, and the ego, or thinking like you have a trophy, you beat the other people. For the man, they look at the woman as a trophy. At what expense? What is the character? What are the values that you look into them? That is the thing that currently is not built into us. I don't know whether to call it built into us or built into the things that we see today. So for people who probably achieve the values and the character, they tend to have things much better than people who look at status, lifestyle, and they feel good of getting the trophy.
Yeah, I think you raised some very important point, because a lot of people, I presume, get married because it's sort of a rite of passage.
Yeah.
I grow up, finish, go to school, get a job,
then marry.
Of course, and I'm sure myself.
And
at that point, you're at this age, you have this amount of money, you have this job. The right thing now to do is get a woman.
Yeah.
So you're probably pushed by certain circumstances, seeking to conform with sort of the norms that define whatever society or community that you're in, seeking that, to your ego and status, that whole idea of, I have my wife. And I must say, it sometimes looks so good, when you see someone has probably gone into a social event and they're there with their woman, they're there, they present themselves. It's all these things. And of course, people then have a certain perception or view of someone when he's single or doesn't have, when he looks like he's the odd one out, in a sense.
Yeah. It looks weird.
And it's true. I agree. Values and character should be what drives either, if you ever decide to go for this union, as opposed to the other way around. But I think in many cases is all these items that you've mentioned, the ego, seeking status, seeking not to go against the norms, not to be seen as an odd one out. No one wants to be seen as different. We are a very tribal kind of species. So we seek to always conform. And I guess it takes a very strong man sometimes to be different.
Yeah, true. Because what I was hinting at was it going to how we make the choices. How we make the choices matter. And I think not much emphasis is being put into those key things. When we talk about the values or talk about the character, talk about the background, we are forgetting them. But I think they are the things that put us into problems, because the lifestyle and the status can change. the ego and the trophy can change because this trophy is changing. You know, you may see another one better than what you have, and then your mind changes. So if that is your drive, you're likely to get derailed. And that seems to be the thing. If it is about lifestyle, if somebody has better than what you have, then they will move on. So
Yeah.
I kind of think those are the things that disturb.
And why is it? One of the things that I found quite peculiar about this guy's case is, and I guess it's probably not peculiar, but many people have probably undergone more or less similar to what he has undergone. But for him, I think the striking thing was 30 freaking years.
Yeah.
So my question is, one, why are people driven by the ego status, lifestyle, conforming? What is it that they lack and they don't pursue the values and characters, you say? And then two, I think you did give some reasons, the reasons of fearing to lose what he had and the children. But a little deeper to that, what does that mean? Is it that...
I would put it to the challenge of what the media is pushing to people from the time guys grow up or when we interact. It's about consuming and consuming and consuming. The next version is always the best. So we put these versions even in people. So you have one, but you're looking out for the next version. So what you have at the moment is just a placeholder. If you look at do I call it society or the generations that we say probably marriages did better, they didn't have that kind of lifestyle, like it is a single use item. Those are the things that we get to be pushed for. We always have an update, you know, of applications, updates of things. We always have versions, and we think that that is the thing that is always better. The next version is always better. And probably people are picking it up even into their lives and their partners. Probably it might be a commodity thing, but when that part of the brain knows that it needs to refurbish or get a next version, it doesn't segregate whether it is a product or a human being. The part of the brain might not be able to segregate because there's no line. So you always have this one and looking out for the next one who is better. And when you get a better one out of the way, you go, you know?
So is it a question of people have not found themselves, who they are, their identity?
That might be that might be the thing.
That they have to cling on to these external things.
You behave by what you see.
Yes.
And you behave by what other people are doing. And you see, that is what Kibe kind of emphasizes whenever he does his talk. You are telling me what you've heard from other people. You are telling me what you've read. What is your own experience? What have you found out by yourself, not what you've been told, you know? So it is like people don't know themselves. We are acting what we are told to act. We behave what we see, we behave what we hear, we behave what we read, you know? So we are not individuals. That's why and then there is also a lot of comparison. You are not like so and so. Why can't you believe that this person is also an independent person and you're also behaving yourself, you know? I want to be treated like so and so, you know? I want to get better like the other person. But can't you realize that you also have your own space and you need to craft yourself? It doesn't mean that you have to have like the other one. So the competition kind of thing, I think there are things that bring these challenges. Competition it's good, but you have to know the environment in which you're competing. There are some environments that do not really deserve competition. They deserve people complement, not competing. But it is like people cannot draw the line now.